Do you know anyone who currently, right now, is involved in some terrible tragedy, something that's just absolutely life-changing? Are you at all concerned with what the confusion in this world today is doing to the culture of tomorrow? Utopianism, hedonism, secularism. How are we ever going to restore Catholic culture? Be sure to share your thoughts below. I read each and every comment. Welcome, I'm Brad Schepisi, and whenever I speak to Catholic youth groups, which is not very often, I always ask them to raise their hand if they know of anyone at school or a friend, anyone, that is going through some sort of tragedy, something life-changing like a divorce or something. And I'm always shocked because almost every time, almost every hand goes up in the air. Now later in the talk, I'll ask them to raise their hand if they have ever prayed with, or they've ever shared their faith, or they've ever done some sort of work of mercy outside the context of the church or the youth group, perhaps at school. And again, I'm shocked because moments after admitting to all that tragedy, almost no hands go up. Now, you may say that they're too embarrassed to share their faith, but they will also admit that they've seen kids from the mega Bible church share their faith at school. What's more, these Catholic youth from a Catholic parish will also admit that they'd attended youth functions at the mega Bible church after being invited by one of the mega Bible kids. Now, as happy as I might be that the gospel is in some way being shared with people who desperately need it, my question is this: isn't it our youth who are supposed to be doing that? Isn't it our youth who, by virtue of their reception of the sacrament of confirmation and hopefully the regular reception of the Holy Eucharist, isn't it our youth that is uniquely equipped for this mission? Isn't it our youth that should be engaging in Catholic missionary evangelization? Because it almost seems as though they have imitated their parents, us, and are not engaged in any way in Catholic missionary evangelization. Now, the reality is that these people who are suffering or they're going through some kind of tragedy, what it is that they need is Jesus. And where Jesus is present is in the sacrament. And for whatever reason, they're not Catholic or they're not religious or whatever, they're not coming to the altar. Then it falls to us. Then it becomes our mission. It's up to us to approach the altar. The Dominican motto, to pray and then to give to others the fruit of that prayer. So we, by our reception of the sacraments, we go out into the world and we bring some portion of that grace to share with those who are suffering in the world. Now, if everything I've said about the youth is true, then it's even more true for us adults, for you and for me. Is it fair to say that most Catholics, most practicing Catholics, are not engaged in any type of missionary evangelization, any types of works of mercy at all? Is it fair to say that most of us have within arm's reach someone in our lives that is going through some sort of tragedy? Is it fair to say that God has placed us next to that person for the sole purpose of sharing his presence with that person? There's two kinds of people in this world. There's leaders and there's followers. We are called to be leaders. The world is filled with bad leaders, evil leaders, misguided leaders. But when the bishop sealed us in the sacrament of confirmation, we took on this vocation of spiritual leadership in this world. And what's wrong with this world is that most of us are abdicating that role or that vocation as a leader. We are a people in this culture, we are a people who wake up, we get out of bed, 16 hours later we go back to bed. And all we did for the whole day, in many cases, is fill our bellies and satiate our passions. But that's not why God put us here. That's That's not why God gave us the sacraments. That's not why Jesus died on the cross, and that's not why God poured out his Holy Spirit upon us. Now, Laudare is a community where we're a group of Franciscans, Dominicans, and laity, and our mission is to restore Catholic missionary evangelization in our time. You can find out more about us at our website, laudare.org. Also, for a step-by-step overview of Catholic missionary evangelization, check out this playlist and help us get this message out by sharing these videos, praying for our mission, and please consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the description. Starting at Pentecost, we see a dramatic change. When all of the apostles are gathered in the upper room, it becomes kind of a microcosm of the Old Testament